At 280 metres, at the end of the road, turn left onto Victoria Street. Route recalculation. Turn left at the traffic lights, then take the next left. Turn left at the traffic lights, then take the next left. Route recalculation. Turn left at the traffic lights. Turn left at the traffic lights. In 450 metres, enter the roundabout and take the first exit onto Peel Street. Enter the roundabout and take the first exit. Prepare to turn right in 540 metres. In 300 meters, turn right onto Lonsdale Street, then turn left. Turn right at the traffic lights, then turn left. Route recalculation. Prepare to turn right in 590 meters. Route recalculation. Turn left at the traffic lights. Turn left at the traffic lights. 10 kilometres.
Stick around to find out what I mean, because today we're looking at Honda innovations, reliability ratings, resale value, and repair costs. So let's just dive in and see what makes Hondas great. Did you know that Honda is the biggest manufacturer of internal combustion engines in the world? Each year they make more than 14 million combustion engines. They're also the world's 8th largest. It has high engineering standards and top-notch manufacturing processes. For example, Honda requires its vehicle parts to fit more tightly than most automakers, ensuring they don't wear down as quickly from grinding against each other. But it's much more than that. There are a few more factors that led Honda to become one of the most reliable brands in the world. One key was their beginning, and the person behind the name. Soichiro, founder of the Honda company, had no formal education. As a youth, he had no interest in school, and he spent most of his time helping his father repair bicycles. He loved tinkering with mechanical things. As a teenager, he went from a small village to Tokyo to work as an apprentice, a mechanic, and then returned on the history of Honda. But today we'll just touch on some of their boasting rights. For example, 40 years ago, in 1982, Honda set the record with their second generation Accord. It was the first-born car to be made on American soil. That was way back in 1982 when Honda built their Marysville, Ohio plant, and the Accord remains one of the best-selling passenger cars in America down to today. Nowadays, it's very common for car makers to use variable valve timing on their engines. But did you know that Honda was the first car maker to use it in a production vehicle? That was back in 1983. They went on to develop VTEC to boost their engine efficiency and power, eventually leading to some of the most iconic engines America has ever seen. Same thing with turbochargers. Honda was among the earliest adopters of turbochargers. They've been using turbos longer than most car makers, starting in the 80s with the City 2 Turbo, the Vamos sliding door van, Life Dunk, and the first generation Acura RDX. Honda was also the first Japanese car maker to create a unique luxury brand. In fact, its early success ended up moving Toyota and Nissan to follow suit and launch their own luxury brands, Lexus and Infiniti. And don't forget, Honda was the first to make hydrogen and hybrid cars. Of course, many people assume the first hybrid was the Toyota Prius since it's so popular today. But actually, the Honda Insight debuted before the Prius and was the first hybrid car to be introduced to the United States. In fact, they were 1 year ahead. Honda was also the first car maker to introduce hydrogen cars to the United States. That was back in 2008 with the Honda FDX Clarity. So you can see how Soichiro Honda's philosophy on innovation carried on through Honda's history down to today. Another reason, Asimo. Honda even has its own airport. It's located in Japan near its main plant. As you can see, Honda doesn't like to sit still. They have a broad span across various engineering technologies, and they're all about innovation. But now let's talk about some of the most reliable Honda cars. Did you know that the Honda Fit is ranked as the 5th most reliable vehicle according to one index? And of course, on the list is the Honda Civic, which has proven reliable over many decades, with tens of millions already sold across the world. Consumer Reports considers the Honda Civic Coupe the most reliable variant, and the Civic Coupe has received a lot of praise. And then you have the Honda Accord, which is now in its 10th generation. It still ranks high for reliability. Another reliable Honda car is the Insight, a 4-door, 5-passenger hybrid electric hatchback. It's one of the most fuel-efficient gas-powered cars in U.S. history. They do tend to be expensive, but they have low average repair costs. Also on the list is the Honda CR-V. The CR-V's reliability ratings aren't as high as other Honda cars, and Subaru, you'd be correct. So let's say you bought a brand new car. After 5 years of ownership, an average car typically holds just 35% of its original price. But if your car is a Honda, Toyota, or Subaru, its average resale value can be up to 62%. These three cars might be neck to neck, but they fare much better than other car brands. Just for kicks, you can look at resale value after 3 years and 7 years. Honda is 77% after 3 years and 47% after 7 years. Toyota is 74% after 3 years and 50% after 7 years. And Subaru is 77% after 3 years and 49% after 7 years. So why is Honda's resale value so high? Well, first of all, today, the Honda brand means value because they have a good track record. Hondas are a good value in terms of performance, efficiency, and affordability. Hondas offer craftsmanship and safety. They also have low ownership costs in terms of maintenance and repairs. So you buy a brand new Honda, It's not just a great choice for reliability, it's also a good investment. So which Honda models have the best resale values? The Honda sedan cars with the best resale value include the Honda Insight and the Civic. If you're looking for a minivan, Ford, which can start at $27,000. At year 5, its resale value is almost $15,000. That means it depreciated only $12,000. In other words, it still keeps almost 53% of its original value. It's good to look at reliability ratings and resale values, but don't forget the average annual maintenance and repair costs. I'm talking about the average cost, frequency, and severity of repairs. When you're considering buying any used car, it behooves you to consider how much you can expect in repair costs, how often, and how severe. Honda cars have a relatively low average annual repair cost. Honda's average is just $428 compared to the overall car market average of $652. For example, the Honda Civic has an average annual repair cost of $368. Here's an interesting angle to look at: theft. They say thieves only steal what's valuable. That's why car theft can be an interesting way to look at a brand's value in the United States. Their studies found that the popular premium cars had lower performance characteristics than expected, scoring just 4th place out of 5. The thing that was most important to consumers was brand prestige and image, high-quality materials, and attractive design. So after this study, the chief engineer, Ichiro Suzuki, knew that 2 criteria he should focus on the most: exceptional performance and a unique, stylish design. But the developers faced an almost impossible task. To achieve one feature of the car meant you had to sacrifice another. For example, to reduce fuel consumption, you need to reduce the weight of the car. But to reduce engine noise, you need more soundproofing material, which adds weight to the car. So now you have a conflict, and you have to find a compromise. And it's a vicious circle. Here's another example. Luxury cars need to be elegant and have aesthetic appeal, but optimizing aerodynamics impacts the overall design of the car. Suzuki was convinced that these conflicts could be resolved without needing to compromise, and he succeeded. For the noise and weight problem, he reasoned you could eliminate the cause of the noise instead of working to eliminate the consequences of a noisy engine. But to approach it from that angle, he needed to design a completely different engine. Suzuki took advantage of being the chief engineer of the new project. He was able to persuade the chief equipment engineer of Toyota to create one experimental engine according to Suzuki's drawings. The company's leading experts assembled it by hand, and the results were impressive. The engine had lower vibrations and therefore minimal noise, and it had noteworthy fuel economy because of the size. In July 1985, they assembled the first prototype. There were many opinions about the name choice. They saw the value of keeping it under the Toyota brand, while others suggested creating a new brand specific to the luxury line. They finally decided on a new brand name and a new sales channel to give the car an opportunity to create a fresh image in consumers' minds, rather than being associated with the image and perception of its parent, Toyota. There are several different stories of how the Lexus name was chosen. According to one story, the team held brainstorming sessions and came up with 219 possible names. The names Alexis and Celsius were deleted. Alexis got more votes than many people associated with the name of the heroine, Alexis Carrington Colby, in the TV series Dynasty. So they came up with an idea to modify it into something similar, eventually landing on Lexus. According to another story, the word Lexus was invented by adding the word luxury and elegance. Some people believe that Lexus is a modification of the Latin word Luxus. Yet another theory is that Lexus was an acronym that stood for Luxury Exports to the U.S. Later, in an interview with Team One, the ad agency for the brand said the name Lexus didn't have any particular meaning, and that it simply connoted luxury and technology. In 1985, the first prototype of Lexus LS400 appeared. The LS stood for luxury sedan, and the 400 stood for its 4-liter engine.
What if Joel, passionate about real estate, but don't want to be a real estate agent? A new niche career is emerging.
Think that Lexus went in production immediately thereafter. Well, that's an overestimation. These incredibly industrious workers spent another 4 years perfecting the creation. In 1986, the LS400 passed road tests in Germany, Canada, and Sweden. It overcame snowdrifts while maneuvering on winding mountain roads. The test results led to the improvement of the steering and suspension system. In May 1987, after 8 different designs were presented, the management team finally approved one body design. And so on January 2nd, 1988, 50 years of development, Lexus as a brand on a car was introduced at the Los Angeles Auto Show. In January 1989, at the Detroit Motor Show, the world saw the first Lexus models, the LS400 and ES250. ES stood for Executive Sedans, and 250 stood for its 2.5-liter engine. The LS400 received praise for its excellent handling, ergodynamic interior, engine performance, build quality, aerodynamics, fuel economy, and cost. Previously, what was thought to be impossible had become possible. The LS400 engine turned out to be unusually quiet, with minimal vibrations. It was a huge milestone for the company. In fact, they took advantage of that as a key marketing message. One of the first Lexus ads showed a stacked pyramid of delicate champagne glasses on the hood of the car. Then the car accelerated quickly and reached the maximum speed of 145 miles an hour. Yet, even at that engine speed, fast gear changes, the engine produced virtually no vibration. The glass pyramid remained intact on the Lexus hood. They didn't slide off or tip over. There wasn't a single spill. After 6 months of sales, in February 1990, the U.S. media recognized the Lexus LS400 as the best imported car in the market. No other car model in the world had ever experienced such a triumphant start. Since 1991, the LS400 topped customer satisfaction rating for 5 consecutive years, and they still hold that record today. In 1992, Lexus overtook European competitors like Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Jaguar in the U.S. sales. The LS400 became the #1 premium import model. It came as a huge shock to German automakers that a brand new brand could surpass them so soon. In fact, it was a large blow to BMW and Mercedes, who lost 29% and 19% of their sales. The Lexus LS400 soon became known as the Japanese Mercedes. In 1999, which was 10 years after it entered the market, the 1 millionth Lexus got sold in the U.S. And that's how the car made its way into the American market. But it's one thing to create a good car and another thing to create a good dealer network in the car industry. Lexus aimed to make the life of its customers more luxurious, and it achieved that. For instance, in '89, they got complaints from 2 customers about faulty wiring. So the company voluntarily recalled all 8,000 units that had been sold. The car maker organized a 20-day operation with the dealerships whereby the employees picked up cars and repaired them. The company also organized flights and services, even in remote places where clients live. Now that's customer service, and the press noticed too. The incident gave the new company a strong reputation for high-level customer service. The company went on to promise that Lexus dealers would treat customers as guests. To prove it, they offered customers a servicing program. Any customer whose car was being repaired or serviced would be given an equivalent vehicle in the interim. They also provided emergency roadside assistance 24/7, which included getting gas delivered to you if it ran out on the road. They also offered shuttling services and car wash. These side services helped reinforce the image of a luxury brand, so that customers would have no complaints or regrets about buying a Lexus. Lexus demanded the impossible in order to create the ideal. That's why today Lexus remains one of the leaders in the luxury segment, selling it in some 70 countries. They created a reputation and perception when they entered the market, and that image still resonates in consumers' minds untarnished. Today it's common to see Japanese luxury cars on the road, but back in the 1970s and early 80s, it wasn't like that. Those years were turbulent times for the U.S. automotive market. Gasoline shortages and economic downturn changed Americans' views against large luxury cars. Consumer interest shifted more towards economical, reliable cars that required cheaper maintenance and repairs. And the car makers that offered all that were Japanese brands, which made cars that were minimalistic and simple. Among them, Honda stood out especially. Honda had earned a reputation for reliability, fuel efficiency, and low prices that many competitors envied. Even the cheapest model from this brand did not compromise in quality. Honda had experienced significant sales growth. There was something else that helped Honda become a leader in the car market. Japanese companies, including Honda, were selling cars in the U.S. market, but assembling them in Japan. But Honda made a difference. They became the first Japanese manufacturer to assemble cars in the United States. It was a groundbreaking move. They set up a new plant in Ohio in 1980, and it's still there. I've been there. It's quite amazing. Honda's most popular models were the Civic, Accord, and the Prelude. The most expensive Honda Accord sold for around $10,000. The design was so simplistic that it lacked features such as power windows and leather upholstery. At the time, Mercedes, BMW, and Audi dominated the luxury market worldwide. But Honda had one important advantage: their assembly plant in the United States. By 1981, Honda began designing a new car for the luxury market. It was to be a sedan larger than the Accord, with Honda's first ever V6 engine. But they had one huge problem. The generation of Americans who grew up with Honda cars during the economic crisis associated the Honda brand with the economy class. It would be an uphill battle to change that perception to luxury. Any words like premium and luxury together with the word Honda just confused people. Honda developed a new sedan called the HX, which would later be called the Legend. The HX model was their vehicle to compete with Mercedes-Benz, Volvo, BMW, and others. It had a 24 valve